Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm Castin Love from the Serious Joy Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Thursday, Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my mission and passion is now to stand in my heart and help other people how to achieve the same thing. This webisode is for Thursday, January 14th, 2016, and right now we're in two-part days, so we have two steps in the given day. We start with step 23, Capricorn, and we end the day at step 24, Capricorn. This means we're going to make a step up. Most people will be taking some step up, or at least you will notice a level of consciousness that is above what you have, okay? Some people aren't ready to take that step up, and I'll be talking about that in the next 2 days. A lot of my life coaching or soul coaching with you will be how to to stand up and be what you've come here to be and not be timid about who you really are. But first, let's actually start with today's vibe. Today's vibe will be cloudy, introverted, and I think pensive today. Maybe a little windy. This wind is a good metaphor here for kind of, I think, how people's thoughts will be. And each day I'm actually going to break down, as a new thing, I'm going to break down some of the vibe basically by state of awareness. I want to tell you where our heart is. I want to tell you where our mind is, etc., etc. So our heart today is looking for where we really belong. That's the question. Where do we belong? Where do I truly belong? And this might be in a power structure, in a family, in a business, on the earth, inside yourself. But that's the question. And that question leads to being able to feel like you're in control of your life and able to control your destiny. So it seems heavy. It's a very serious day. Now our mind, I think we're in Mercury retrograde. That means Mercury is appearing to look backwards in the sky. What it means in human consciousness is we are re-looking at something we thought we already thought through and closed the book on. So wherever Mercury retrogrades is a part where God's like, no, better look at that again. Yeah, you better look at that again, right? Because we're real quick. And the smartass, that's what I call our mind, is always quick to get to the answer and on to the next answer. And it never really wants to check its work, ever. I am the father of a Gemini. I can vouch for that. So today, I think, we're trying to get our mind around things. We're trying to settle our mind. I think at step 23, that's the Grandmaster step of thought. So our mind is trying to master it all today. We're trying to get our mind on it. Now, if you want to get your mind around it, you want to relax your mind so it can. The mind is not going to find the answer. If the mind had the answer, it wouldn't be looking for the answer. Now, would it, smartass? So sit back and observe. When it comes to receiving, what you are receiving is the action, the call of duty. You're ready for the action or call of duty. You're ready for the right belief, the right piece of knowledge. There's a lot of need for the piece of knowledge, but I'll tell you that knowledge is inside you. It's a knowledge in your heart. You're not going to see tangible evidence before you manifest it, okay? That's not how it works. So today you're receiving that knowledge. You're receiving what course of action to take. And as far as where we are and what we're acting on, we are acting on peace. Mars at step 6, Scorpio, so our ego wants peace, our ego wants balance, our ego wants fairness, our ego wants justice, our ego wants everything to be okay. That's what our ego wants. And we're dictating that we know what we know because we said so. That comes down to Saturn. So it's a very complicated day inside, as you can see. We're going for peace, but we're at the same time trying to get our mind around things. We're trying to get that answer. And our emotions are in Pisces. And that ultimately means that it's time to really let it go, let it flow, forgive and forget. Because if you don't keep it easy with yourself and just allow and observe and be okay with whatever the result is, you won't really get to that grand conclusion. And that is really, what am I going to commit to? What is my power structure? So for your joy question, you choose to accept it today is very simple. Discover what flows easiest in your life. Go with the flow. Discover what flows easiest and go with the flow. And see where it brings you. All right, let's move on to today's topic. Today's topic is real control versus control for control's sake. And I say this because we are now getting to the mountaintops of Capricorn. Capricorn is the human conscious desire to control. If you're not aware of what astrology is simply the observation of the 12 states of awareness, or the 12 consciousnesses that human beings are aware of. And control is one of them. That's why we have control freaks and dictators and countries that go too far. Every human being is learning how to control, much like I imagine God Creator once learned how to control when he/she was coming into he/she's awareness. Who knows? But I imagine control is a part of all awareness of all beings, right? So we're at the tippy top of our control now, which means we're all dealing with our control issues, and I don't know a person on earth that is completely in control. I just don't. All right? In fact, as I grow spiritually, I find that if you really want to be in control, you actually give up the perception of control to be in actual control. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, that control is not always what it appears to be, the actual control. And when I do personal readings for people, I can actually tell if they have this perception ability in their chart. A lot of people, and they always go, oh yeah, I know, and it's one of those nod, wink, winks. Let me explain. Let's start with the 5 o'clock question. The question you should answer yourself by 5 o'clock. Have you ever been the responsible one in a given party when someone else was actually in charge? So have you ever been the responsible one in a given situation when someone else was actually in charge? So in other words, you took over even though they were claiming to be the ones running the show. Ever done that? The follow-up question, when you were secretly running things, did you have to announce your control to be in control, or were you just in control? So I'll answer these questions. Have I ever been the responsible when someone else was allegedly in charge? Oh, hell yes. In fact, I think it was very young that I started to just take over things. And I didn't mean to. I just, for one, I have a solar eclipse in Capricorn, so there's definitely a control freak in my nature. Definitely enjoy control. But I don't look at it as control. I look at it as sculpting. I look at it as like keeping things within certain bounds, which is control. Denial is also part of the control, right? But I can, recalling specifically, I can remember that, in drama club in particular, there's a lot of egos, and there's a lot of, personality, and you have to get things done and get things done, like get the show on at a certain time. And these are all, God love them, crazy actors all bouncing off the walls. So in those times, it's like I had to be in control, but I had to let them think that they were in control. So the question was, who's really in control? And that's when I started to understand mastery of control. Masters, okay, and this leads me to the second part of the question. Did I announce I was in control? Actually, yes. I flashed the lights and acted like an ass. And you know what happened? Every time I announced I was in control, they basically wanted to show me I was not in control. Okay, so I started to put it together very young. Or I started to remember my solar eclipse. If this is how past life eclipses happen, you relive little examples in your life that remind you of this talent, and like, oh yes, I remember the human species being this way, right? And that is that control, right, quite often is not happening where people assume it's happening. In fact, there's usually like a Russian dolls, there's usually like, oh, this person thinks they're in control, but there's something under that, and there's something beyond that, and there's something beyond that. In fact, that's true all the way up through the universe. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about this awesome healing device that I've heard about. And I'm going to be interviewing this person over the weekend. And it really made me rethink about control, because it's like every time you think something has control over a situation, there's always something greater outside of it that's actually controlling that. But I bring this up to you, my friends, because each of us, I think, over the next 4 days are going, okay, what is the top of the mountain? What is the pinnacle of my life? And that is what you're basically saying is, what is my master of my control? What is going to be what makes me feel on top of my world? And I'm saying, well, if you're truly a master and you're truly on top of your world, then your world probably won't know you're on top of it. Because the ones who are actually in the position to control actually are not usually using their control. They only use it when they have to. That's real control, right? And you might ask yourself, where am I trying to over-control and where am I trying to allow? So this is one last piece I want to bring to this idea of control. Masters of control, realize this. Am I master of control? No. I'm a step 14 solar eclipse in Capricorn. Step 14 means I'm trying to get to a higher level for sure. I think I do want to master control, but I don't think anyone in my life who's worked with me will tell you I'm not a master, okay? We'll just be very honest. But I will tell you this, that if you arrive to a situation and that situation is out of control, okay? Or you arrive to a situation and you don't feel empowered, okay? The control is not getting on top of that situation. The control is you're in the wrong situation. And I tried to fight when I got to a situation and control it. I now know what masters know. If they walk in and this isn't a situation where everyone respects them as master, they leave. Which means that they have mastered the fact that if they can't be in control of their environment or feel that it is running the way they want, they don't go because they know by law of attraction they're not supposed to be there. So mastery of control is actually letting things run by themselves, because you know there's a greater control at work, which is God, universe, law of attraction. So let's surrender our control and take 3 breaths, shall we, in today's Zen Den. And welcome to the Zen Den. And I encourage you, if you don't, to take 3 breaths with yourself. Always check in on your inner spirit, and you can do it when you watch my show. I will burn this video time, which is a no-no in TV, and take 3 breaths with you, shall we? And I'm going to check with my guides and what they want to say as well. Okay, and I have an affirmation for you today, one that will help you get you on your way. I accept and receive where I naturally belong today, and I accept the peace it brings me. I accept and receive where I naturally belong today, and I accept the peace that it brings me. And so it is, because I said so, I thought so. Now that is basically designed for you to find the right place where you belong. In essence, step 24 adds to a 6. We're going to talk about this in 1 second here with the overhead. And that means that ultimately the way it's designed by the universe is for everything to flow. Everything in physics flows, everything in biology flows, everything is designed to flow. The wind is flowing around me like crazy. And anytime you try to stop the flow, you're going against really the nature of the universe. So, it is also true that with attaining power of your life and of yourself, if things aren't flowing organically, that's not power. That is you trying to have power for power's sake. You're not mastering that control. You're trying to get your fingers in and control it and take over for the universe. All right? So let's look at our planets and see what's going on. So again, this is printed at my favorite time to be born, 11:21 a.m. And at that point, we have switched to step 24, Capricorn. That adds to a power 6, and that is the I give, I receive. So that's where I get the 6 from, folks, is that there's always a final ruling state. And if you want to know, this is our state of emotion and our state of belonging coming together. And so when emotions and belonging come together, you get 6, the ability to open up and receive. All right. Now, if you have the wrong belonging, you won't open up. All right. If you have the right belonging, you will. So basically, in my guidance as Sensei, when I say go with the flow, find what flows naturally, I'm guiding you to what the universe is saying is meant to happen here. Now, Mercury has fallen behind the sun, and now it will continue retrograding this way toward Pluto. Today, it's at step 23. That's the Grandmaster step of 5. That's the highest 5 you can get in our human spectrum. And that means that we're going to try to get our mind around the whole thing, to mastermind where our control is. And from that masterminding, we're going to take it back, take it back, take it back. So we're just continuing to take steps back as we retrograde. But our life is moving forward. So, it's kind of like as the limousine moves forward, you're going to sit in the back seat, then you're going to sit in the trunk, then you're going to sit in the... just keep moving back. The whole is still moving forward, but as you get that perspective, you can kind of get an idea of where this whole thing is headed, and then we go forward when Mercury goes direct. Now, my guides, I said, what do you want to talk about, guys? And they're like, talk about Jupiter. And once again, here's Jupiter. What's Jupiter at? Step 23. I'm not surprised. It is what we call trining Mercury. So there's a trine here, a perfect trine, okay? Step 23, but it's retrograde, just like Mercury's retrograde. So what that means is in our ideas of creating reality, Jupiter in Virgo is here going, okay, let's reorganize reality. Let's reorganize the way we do things. And this is a once every 12-year cycle, and we're about halfway through it. So we were all building things, and now over the holidays, it's like, oh, wait, maybe that's not what we want. Maybe that's not how it'll happen. Maybe we don't have it all perfectly planned out. And so what's interesting is what Creator is saying, what the guides are saying is, be prepared to flip your plans entirely over. Be prepared to completely reverse gears. Be prepared to be completely in a different city. So it's like, Dorothy, you thought you were going to Oz. Nope, it's not even Oz. It's a different prequel. It's not even a sequel. It's like, it's not what you thought at all. And that's what's fun about life. So try not to get too attached to the details. Basically, this trine means two things. One, it means if you're having a hard time changing your mind, maybe it's because you're holding on to the details of the plan that's not going to work out. So you got to let go of those details. Now here's the good news. Whatever was driving you to get those details is still in you, and you'll still find a way to get those details in the new reality. So don't forget, you create reality. Let go of those. We can create new ones. You don't have to have the s'mores in that campsite. We can create some more over there. Okay? So the other thing that's important to know is with this trine between Mercury and Jupiter, as soon as you get that smart ass on the plan, then Jupiter knows precisely how to reorganize what matters into matter for you and begin that creation process. You not facing the truth and what you really want just holds up the production line. Sensei, what if I manifest the wrong thing? Then you manifest the wrong thing, and you see me here in 30 years looking just as fabulous and young, and I'll tell you the same thing. I'm like, here we are again. Don't forget, you got to do it this way. So I'll just keep saying it. You have second chances. Venus at step 18. This is ready to act. 9 is ready to act. This is my favorite step. As you know, I'm a step 18 Taurus, so I love step 18, my favorite step. Let's decide and act. And that's basically what this is. This is the Gabriel horn going, it's time, it's time. So there must be this, everyone's got this call inside them like, it's time, right? Not Miller time, but it's time. And that may mean it's time to believe in yourself. It's time to believe in this. It's time to believe in that. And it is time, and it is necessary to put your money where your mouth is, to practice what you preach, and move forward. So you're not wrong about that. Saturn at 12 degrees says, because I said so. Saturn 12 degrees is because I said so. That's it. And we can't go into that without having a whole class. The last part I'll put on is the moon. In the beautiful step of 25, which adds to a 7 here, in the step of 7 at the moment of 11:21, so very holy moment there. Basically, these high degrees of the moon means our emotions are really, really weird today. They're like picking up on very, very subtle sense. But those things that you're sensing are the very, very finite little things that only you will know. So if you just know that you're going to meet your soulmate in a train station, then you don't let go of that tiny little weird thing. I know I just told you to let go of a lot of details. We're talking about those weird, tiny little things that you just know to look for, that you'll know it's right. Those are things your higher self have told you to look out for. So on some senses, we're looking for the right detail. On some senses, we're like to let go of old details that don't matter, that we can color over again with our crayons. All right? Okay, that is all I have to say on the planets. I was asking them. So a couple of things I want to do for a shout out. For one, at the end of the show, I want to do a little thing what I call a serious tip. And a serious tip is basically a tip about life, and also a tip that comes in your Serious Story Personal Sensei service. And for one, on the Sensei service, for those who subscribe, it's been asked a lot. No two texts are alike. You must know that. Everyone has a very different plan. In fact, even in texts where it's a general message, all of the texts are written based on whether you're a beginner, whether you're a proficient, or whether you're a master. So it's divided based on your consciousness. You will find similarities, but you'll never find that I'm talking the same way to the same person and about the same thing. And in fact, people have been telling me since they joined that they are making more money, that they're more confident, and they no longer are worrying about stupid things. And that is one of the added benefits of having the text service or email service with you, is that by having me come in there and just remind you, we're in creation. So you start consciously creating along these terms. Anything I warn you about, you don't create because your heart doesn't want it. And so what happens is in about 6 weeks, people find that their silly turmoils end and their life begins to move in the direction they want. So give it a try. I just want to put it out there. I'll be putting out a survey this weekend to my viewers and my Serious Storyers to ask them what they have witnessed. A lot have testimonials to their lives changing incredibly fast. All right, my friends, I'm so grateful to you. I have lots of exciting things to release today and through the weekend. But stay in your heart today. Find out who you really are. Don't be hard on yourself. Forgive and forget the past so you can focus on what's important in the future. And I love you. Live, love, be.